Your body does not ask for permission when you turn 70. It just starts changing, and by the time you notice the warning signs, it might already be too late. I am Dr. Helen Ross, and after 32 years of studying aging patterns, I can tell you that the biggest threat to your independence is happening right now, silently, inside your head. This is thing number one, the silent failure of your balance system. Deep inside your ear, you have 3 tiny canals filled with fluid. Think of these as your biological gyroscope. When you move, that fluid shifts and tells your brain exactly which way is up. But as you cross 70, the biology shifts. That fluid starts to thicken like cold syrup, and the sensors become sluggish. Your brain begins receiving mixed signals. Take my patient Margaret as an example. At 71, she walked into my office and said, "Doctor, I feel drunk just standing up." Nothing was wrong with her legs, but her inner ear was failing. When I tested her, she could not stand on one foot for even 2 seconds. Just a decade earlier, she could have done it for 30. Here is the terrifying truth that nobody tells you. A major study from Johns Hopkins tracked 2,000 seniors and found that those who lost balance with their eyes closed were 5 times more likely to suffer a life-changing fall within just 2 years. 5 times. You might think you are fine because you can still walk normally, but your internal GPS is degrading every single day. The good news is that your balance system is like a muscle. Use it or lose it. You can force your brain to recalibrate with one simple daily habit. Every morning while you brush your teeth, practice standing on one foot for 30 seconds. This forces your nervous system to stay sharp. Margaret did this for 6 weeks, her dizzy spells vanished, and she got her life back. You can do the same, but you must start before the first fall happens. But here is the catch. Even if your balance is perfect, if your brain cannot tell your muscles to move fast enough, you are still in danger. This brings us to thing number 2. Your reaction time drops by half. It is the hidden slowing of your nervous system that happens to every single person watching this video right now. In your 30s, if you see a glass falling off the counter, you catch it effortlessly. By 70, you see it falling, you want to move, but you simply watch it hit the floor. Your hands just do not move fast enough anymore. This is not laziness, and it is not just about being slow. This is biological degradation. Inside your body, your nerves are coated in a substance called the myelin sheath. Think of this as the high-speed insulation on an electrical wire. As you age, that insulation breaks down and thins out. It is like your body is switching from lightning-fast fiber-optic internet back to old-fashioned dial-up. The information still gets to the destination, but not fast enough to save you from a crisis. Let me tell you about James. He was 72, healthy, and still driving his grandkids to school. One afternoon, a child ran into the street chasing a ball. James saw the kid clearly. His brain screamed, "Stop!" But his foot did not hit the brake for a full second. 1 second does not sound like much, right? But at 30 miles per hour, your car travels 44 feet in that one single second. James stopped just 6 inches from that child. He came to my office shaking because his body simply would not respond in time. A study from Stanford measured this precisely. By age 70, your nerve signals travel 30% slower than they did at 50. Your brain takes longer to process what you see, and your muscles take longer to respond to commands. This is why seniors cause more accidents even though they drive more carefully. It is not poor judgment. It is biology. But you can fight back. You can train what we call compensatory speed. Play reaction games on your phone or toss a soft ball against a wall and catch it. These activities force your nervous system to stay sharp and build new pathways. My patient Thomas started playing a simple reaction game for just 20 minutes a day. 2 weeks later, he caught a glass falling off his counter. He told me, "Doctor, the old me would have just watched it fall." Small improvements in speed create massive differences in the real world. You have to keep your signals fast if you want to stay safe and independent. But there is a deeper problem. Even if your brain sends the signal at lightning speed, it does not matter if the engine is gone. This brings us to thing number 3, sarcopenia. It is the silent thief that steals your strength while you are not looking. Right now, your muscles might be eating themselves, and you cannot feel it happening until it is too late. Take Maria, for example. She was 68, lived alone in Seattle, and prided herself on being independent. Then one morning, she tried to open a simple jar of pickles. She could not do it. She tried again. Nothing. She had to call her daughter to come over just to open a jar. It was humiliating. Maria did not realize that after 50, you lose 1% of your muscle mass every year. But when you hit 70, that loss doubles. You lose muscle twice as fast as you did just 10 years earlier. A study from Tufts University found that between age 65 and 85, your strength can drop by over 50%. Think about what that means. You lose the ability to get out of a chair, carry your own groceries, or climb the stairs. This is the fast track to a nursing home and becoming a burden on your family. But you are not helpless. Research from McMaster University proved that muscles respond to stress at any age. They took seniors with an average age of 78 and put them on a light resistance program. In just 12 weeks, they gained 4 pounds of pure muscle. By simply spending 15 minutes every morning with resistance bands or light weights, you can stop the rot. Maria started this routine, and 3 months later, she opened that jar without even thinking about it. Your muscles can grow at 70, 80, or 90. You just have to give them a reason to stay. But here is the most terrifying part. Even if you build those muscles back and keep your engine running, it will not matter if the frame they are attached to is turning into chalk. This brings us to thing number 4, the silent catastrophe of bone loss. Unlike a headache or a cut, you cannot feel your bones getting weaker. There is no pain, no stiffness, and no warning signs. You feel perfectly fine until the very moment you are not. Let me tell you about Dorothy. She was 73 active and lived a very healthy life. One winter morning, she stepped onto her porch and slipped on a patch of ice. She landed on her side and felt instant, agonizing pain. Most people would look at that and say she fell and broke her hip. But when the doctors looked at the scans, they told her family something shocking. Dorothy did not fall and break her hip. Her hip broke first, and that is why she fell. Her bone had become so thin and porous that it simply snapped under her own body weight. The ice was just the trigger for a disaster that had been building for years. Getty images. This is what we call osteoporosis. Your bones literally become hollow inside. A study from the National Osteoporosis Foundation found that 1 in 2 women over 50 will suffer a fracture because of this. 1 in 2. For men, it is 1 in 4. And here is the statistic that should keep you up at night. 20% of seniors die within 1 year of a hip fracture. It is not the broken bone itself that is fatal. It is the complications. When you are stuck in bed and cannot move, you get pneumonia, you get blood clots, you get infections from surgery. One fall can end everything in a single moment. But you can stop this. Most people think walking is enough, but it is not. Your bones need impact to stay strong. You need to do weight-bearing exercises like light jogging, resistance training, or even jumping jacks if you are able. This physical stress signals your body to send calcium and vitamin D into the bone to make it dense and hard again. Dorothy started a bone strengthening program, and 1 year later, her scans showed real improvement. She did not just survive, she became harder to break. You must give your skeleton the stress it needs today if you want it to support you for the next 30 years. But even if you have the strongest bones in the world, they are useless if your brain loses the map of where they are located. This brings us to thing number 5, the erosion of your proprioception. Think of this as your body's internal GPS. It is the reason you can close your eyes right now and still touch your nose perfectly on the first try. Your brain knows exactly where your limbs are in space without you having to look at them. However, after 70, this internal mapping system begins to break down. Your brain starts to lose track of your feet. You think you are lifting your foot high enough to clear a rug or a step, but you are not. Your brain is essentially lying to you. A fascinating study from the University of Michigan proved this, using advanced sensors on seniors walking upstairs. The participants truly believed they were lifting their feet 6 inches off the ground to clear the steps. The sensors showed they were actually only lifting them 3 inches. This is exactly why so many people trip over their own feet or objects they can clearly see. It is not poor vision, and it is not muscle weakness. It is a faulty body map. Consider my patient Robert. He was 76 and had tripped 3 times in 1 month. Each time, there was absolutely nothing in his way. He just misjudged where his foot was in space. He felt like he was losing his mind, but he was just losing his connection. The good news is that you can recalibrate a lying brain. I taught Robert 2 simple drills. First, the heel-to-toe walk. Walk in a straight line, placing 1 foot directly in front of the other like you are on a tightrope. Second, the blind reach. Stand in front of a door, close your eyes, and try to touch the handle or the light switch. These exercises force your brain to sharpen its spatial awareness. After 6 weeks, Robert stopped tripping entirely. His internal GPS was back online. These 3 minutes of daily practice are the difference between a confident stride and a life-changing trip. But even with your internal GPS back online, there is one final enemy that can override everything else. It is not in your ears, your muscles, or your bones. It lives entirely in your mind. This is thing number 6. The psychological trap. It is the paradox of fear. You would think that being afraid of falling would make you more careful and therefore safer. But in the biology of aging, the exact opposite is true. Fear is often what actually causes the fall. When you are terrified of falling, your body becomes tense. You move rigidly, your joints lock up, and you start taking tiny shuffling steps while gripping onto furniture for dear life. Think of it like walking on ice. If you are relaxed, your body can make natural fluid adjustments if you slip. But if you are frozen with fear, you become unstable. A major study from the British Medical Journal found that seniors who reported a high fear of falling were 3 times more likely to actually suffer a fall. The fear creates the very catastrophe you are trying to avoid. Let me tell you about Helen. At 71, she had a minor slip in her kitchen. She was not hurt, but she became so scared of it happening again that she stopped leaving her house. She became a prisoner of her own fear. I told her, Helen, your fear is making you fall, not your age. We worked on confidence building. We practiced walking normally while I was nearby. We slowly increased the difficulty until she realized she could trust her body again. 6 weeks later, she told me, I forgot I was even afraid. Let us look at the full picture we have covered today. Your body does not have to be a ticking time bomb. We have looked at how your inner ear ruins your balance, how your reaction time slows to dial up speeds, how sarcopenia eats your muscles, how osteoporosis turns your bones to chalk, how you lose your internal GPS, and finally, how fear freezes you in place. Every single one of these has a solution. Whether it is standing on 1 foot while brushing your teeth, playing reaction games, or lifting light weights, you have the power to reclaim the next 30 years of your life. You are not a statistic. You are a person with the knowledge to fight back. As you look at your own life or the lives of those you love, which of these 6 changes feels like the biggest challenge right now? Is it the loss of balance or perhaps that silent fear of moving? Let me know in the comments. Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear to start their own journey back to independence. Your legs were made to carry you for 100 years. It is time to give them the training they deserve.